You're about to learn why one invisible habit destroys more wealth than any single financial mistake ever could. It's not a bad investment. It's not a market crash. It's something so ordinary, so normalized, that you probably don't even notice it happening. It's lifestyle creep combined with impulse microspending, and the math behind it is absolutely devastating. Let's start with what these terms actually mean. Lifestyle creep is when your spending automatically rises as your income rises. You get a raise at work, and suddenly you're eating lunch out more often. You get a bonus, and your coffee shop visits increase. You earn more, so you spend more, without ever making a conscious decision to do so. It just happens. And then there's microspending. The $5 coffee, the $3 snack, the $2 app subscription, the $12 streaming service you forgot you had. None of these feel like real money. They feel invisible. But here's the critical part that most people miss. When you combine these two habits, they don't just add up. They multiply, they compound, and they absolutely destroy your path to wealth. Let's do the math. Imagine you make $50,000 a year. You're living reasonably well, and you think you're doing fine. You spend $45,000 and you save $5,000. That's a 10% savings rate, which is actually above average. But then something happens. You get a promotion. Your salary jumps to $55,000. Just a 10% raise. Should feel great, right? And it does. But here's what actually happens next. Instead of saving that extra $5,000, you automatically start spending more. This is lifestyle creep in action. You eat out one more time per week. You upgrade your phone plan. You buy slightly nicer clothes. You get a gym membership at the fancy place instead of the budget option. Before you can even register what happened, that entire $5,000 raise has vanished into your spending. You're still saving $5,000, same as before. The raise did absolutely nothing for your wealth. Now layer microspending on top of that. Let's say you spend just $5 a day on small impulse purchases. A coffee here, a snack there, an app charge you didn't plan for, a food delivery fee you didn't think about. $5 might sound insignificant, but let's actually calculate what it means over time. $5 per day is $150 per month. That's $1,800 per year. Over a decade, it's $18,000. Over 30 years, it's $54,000. That's money that could have been invested, growing through compound interest, turning into hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the real damage isn't just about the money you're spending right now. It's about the opportunity cost of that money. This is where compound interest completely changes the game. Imagine you invest that $5 a day instead of spending it. Over 30 years, at an average annual return of 7%, that $18,000 per year becomes more than $2 million. That's the real cost of that $5 coffee. It's not $5. It's a piece of $2 million that you're destroying every time you make that impulse purchase. Now combine this with lifestyle creep. Every time your income goes up, you're spending that raise through the 1,000 tiny decisions you make each week. You're not consciously choosing this. Your brain is just automatically adjusting your lifestyle to match your new income level. It feels normal. It feels right. Everyone around you is doing the same thing. But while you're doing this, wealth is slipping through your fingers like sand. Here's the brutal truth. If you have lifestyle creep, you will never get rich. It doesn't matter how much money you make. You could make $100,000 a year, and if your lifestyle creeps up with your income, you'll still be broke. You could make $1 million a year and end up with nothing if every dollar you earn automatically finds its way out of your bank account. This is actually what happens to most lottery winners and people who suddenly come into money. They get a massive influx of cash, and their lifestyle immediately balloons to match it. Within 5 years, they're often worse off than they were before. The money didn't fail them. Their spending habits tilled them. Lifestyle creep is the financial assassin that nobody teaches you about. So how do you stop it? There's actually a remarkably simple technique called the 24-hour rule, and it works because it interrupts the automatic nature of impulse spending. Here's how it works. Anytime you feel the urge to make an unplanned purchase, you don't buy it immediately. You wait 24 hours. You set a timer on your phone. You go home or you go to work, or you do whatever you need to do, and then you wait a full day. During that 24 hours, something remarkable happens in your brain. The emotional urgency of the purchase fades. The impulse weakens. You start to see the purchase for what it actually is, a choice, not a necessity. By the time that timer goes off, most people find they don't actually want the thing they were so convinced they needed a day earlier. Studies show that implementing the 24-hour rule reduces impulse spending by more than 70%. That's not a small improvement. That's a complete transformation of your financial life. And here's something equally important. The 24-hour rule forces you to become conscious of your spending. You're no longer in autopilot mode. You're no longer letting lifestyle creep happen invisibly. Every time you decide to make a purchase, you're making an active choice. That conscious choice is the foundation of real wealth building. Let's talk about what this actually means for your life. If you're currently spending $5 a day on micro purchases, and you implement the 24-hour rule and cut that by 70%, you're now saving about $3.50 per day. That's $1,000 per year. Over 30 years at 7% returns, $1,000 per year becomes more than $100,000. And that's just from cutting micro spending. That's not even addressing lifestyle creep yet. Now, if you also address lifestyle creep by making a conscious decision to not increase your spending when your income increases, the math becomes even more dramatic. Let's say you get that $5,000 raise we talked about earlier. Instead of letting it disappear into your lifestyle, you force yourself to maintain your old spending level and put the entire raise into investments. $5,000 per year, compounded at 7% over 30 years, becomes more than $650,000. That's the difference between dying broke and retiring wealthy. It's all from one simple decision. Don't let your lifestyle creep. The reason this is so hard for people is that it goes against every signal our culture sends us. We live in a world of constant marketing, constant social comparison, constant subtle pressure to upgrade everything about our lives. You see someone on social media with a nicer apartment, and suddenly your apartment feels inadequate. You see a coworker with a better phone, and your phone feels outdated. Your brain is constantly registering these micro messages that you should be spending more, upgrading more, consuming more. Lifestyle creep isn't a character flaw. It's the natural response to living in a consumer culture. But here's the thing. You have a choice. You can choose to be conscious. You can choose to wait 24 hours before you buy. You can choose to let your income increase without automatically increasing your spending. These choices feel small and insignificant in the moment. They feel like you're missing out. But you're not missing out on anything. You're actually gaining something much more valuable than a slightly nicer coffee or a marginally better phone. You're gaining financial freedom. You're gaining the ability to make choices based on what you actually want, not based on what your automatic habits are pushing you toward. The people who become truly wealthy aren't the people who make the most money. They're the people who resist lifestyle creep. They're the people who've learned to see the true cost of impulse spending. They're the people who've built the habit of pausing before they buy. They wait, they think, they decide whether this purchase actually aligns with their values and their goals. And most of the time, they decide it doesn't. They say no. And that single word, repeated thousands of times over the course of a lifetime, is what creates wealth. So here's your challenge starting today. First, implement the 24-hour rule for any unplanned purchase over $5. Set a timer. Wait. See if you still want it tomorrow. Second, track your micro-spending for 1 week. Write down every single small purchase you make. Coffee, snacks, apps, delivery fees, everything. You'll probably be shocked at how much you're spending. Third, when your income increases, make a conscious decision about how much of that increase you're going to save before you decide how much you're going to spend. Don't let lifestyle creep happen by default. Make it a deliberate choice. The math is on your side. Time is on your side. Compound interest is on your side. All you have to do is break one invisible habit and build one new one. Stop the automatic lifestyle creep. Start being conscious about micro-spending, and watch as the impossible becomes inevitable. Wealth isn't reserved for the lucky or the ultra-smart. It's available to anyone who can resist the urge to spend money automatically. That person can be you, and it starts today.